and it's hard for him to hold. Now I get the cuff, I start dancing to an angle, I get to the back. He squares up to me. Now we have the pyramid position. We can go and we can start going into takedowns. All right, so one more time. We're here, he sets a cross collar, 2-on-1. If you want, you can set either a straight cuff or a cross cuff grip during this process if you want to assert control after you strip. We go 2 hands under the wrist, we dance away and we don't push back to him, we go straight up. Now I can start to pull the arms in good positions, and now we can start to go into our takedowns. All right, so we looked at a lot of information about how to beat and break power hand grips. Now let's look at 4 good methods of breaking our opponent's cuff grip, the control hand grip. So I want to set my power hand, he sets a grip so I can't get my power hand on. So there's a few different ways I can do this. Let's first look at our thumb post options, or with the straight thumb post. I can go with a thumb post from the inside. I circle my hand to the inside, I take a thumb post grip. Now from here I'm going to grab on the wrist, keep the grip. I'm going to pump down. As I pump down, it's going to slightly, keep the grip. It's going to slightly weaken the grip. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to retract my elbow, I'm going to grab further up the hand toward the fingers, and I'm going to go a second time. Punching and starting to strip a little bit of that grip. There, I just felt another 1/4 inch of fabric come out of his hand. Now we do the same thing. We come back, we grab closer to the fingers, we go again. And eventually, that comes out. Now I can establish my own grip, I can start to pull him out of position, and now we can start to go into our takedowns. Or I could have set a power hand, for example. So again, we call this the wrist pumping method or an inside thumb post. I'm here, maybe I have a power hand set. Thumb post, 1, 2, 3. Okay? Now I can start getting ready to go into my takedowns. So that's an inside thumb post. Let's look at an outside thumb post. I go for the power hand grip, he strips it off. Boom, he's got this grip. We saw I can go with the thumb post from the inside of the wrist. I can also thumb post the outside of the wrist. Now with this grip, all I'm going to do is I'm going to send everything across the body. He goes to hang on to the grip. I circle to the outside, thumb post, and the grip comes out. So I'll go a little easier and a little slower on that. So again, we have the inside thumb post. Now we have the outside thumb post. And now that that grip is gone, now we can start setting our own power hand grips and going to work. Well, we can also use a cross thumb post. So far, the thumb posts we've been using have been straight, either inside and pump, or outside and throw by. We can also use a cross thumb post, right? Come in here, cross thumb post, and we can break. So if we're in here, he's moving me around, I want to set my power hand on here, and now I have my power hand set. One more option we have, we're still going to have to use a cross thumb post, but what we can do to weaken his grip is we can point our elbow at him. He strips my grip, he's got this. If I point my elbow at him, his grip gets a little weaker. It's odd for him to keep this grip when my elbow points at him. Now when my elbow pointing at him, it's hard for him to do anything with it, and we can easily pop it off. So here I point my elbow, I can point my elbow up like so. This is probably the weakest one, where I take my hand, almost like I put my hand in my own ear, and as he tries to hold that grip, it's just really awkward. Now I come in and strip that off. So our 4 methods: inside thumb post, and we pump and we strip, and we pump and we strip. Outside thumb post, throw by. Cross thumb post, and now pointed elbow method. So good ways of breaking a cuff grip. I think that does it on grip fighting. I know that's a lot of information. So we talked about the role of the power hand, controls the head and shoulders. And we talked about the role of the control hand denies his power hand. We want to first intercept the power hand if possible. We never want to let him get it on. If he gets the power hand, now we want to strip it. We have 2-on-1 methods, 1-on-1 methods, push-pull misdirectional methods. We have off-balancing methods, which we didn't talk about. We'll talk about more in a little bit, where I can use my feet to disrupt his balance, get him out of balance, just so he's moving around. And a lot of times he'll let go of the grip to put hands on the floor to base, to get his balance. So you have off-balancing methods. If he takes a peak collar grip, we got these shoulder throw-bys, where I get inside his elbow, throw his elbow by. He's got the scapula, I'm dogging me down. I get inside, pump my shoulder in. Lots of good ways to beat the power hand grips. We just saw 4 good ways to beat the control hand. Inside thumb post, outside thumb post, cross thumb post, pointed elbow. All right. So we've covered stances and we've covered grips. Now, let's cover motion. What's the point of motion? Well, to get to a good position. When I get grips breaking, I'm going to use motion to expose my partner's back or expose my partner's center line. Oftentimes, when we expose one, he'll give us the other. I'm here, pop. Maybe I'll use some circular motion to go to the back. When he squares up to me, he exposes his center line to me, and I can go into my takedowns. There's multiple kinds of movement. We have forward movement, where I'm moving forward. We have backward movement. We have circular movement. And then we have lateral movement, where I try to circle and he cuts me off. Okay? Forward, backward, circular, lateral. What would I do with these? Well, with forward movement, let's say I'm driving into Ant. What is Ant often going to do in response to me driving into him? He's going to drive back into me. So I'm going to use that power against him. He's driving into me. I want to use that to my advantage, maybe with a snap down. I can't hit a snap down because he has this on. But we've seen how we can break this. I take my one-on-one grip. So now I'm pushing into him. He's pushing back in. And we can start to snap him down because we get him driving into us. Okay? Now let's say I strip this grip, I'm walking into him and he's not this way. Let's say I walk into him and he doesn't drive back into me. Let's say he just continues to walk backwards with me. Well, then we can start doing takedowns and take him in a different direction. So I want you guys to see that there's going to be a lot of push and pull in our takedown game. If I am walking forward and he, whatever he chooses to do, right now he's resisting me. So with him resisting me, I can look to do takedowns that are going to snap him forward. As I walk backward, or as I walk forward and he goes backward, if he doesn't fight me, I can start tying the steps, or we can start to go in and hit takedowns in a backward direction. Let's talk about the other direction. What if I'm moving this way? Well, if he resists this movement, like by pulling backward, well, now I can start to come to the pyramid position, step, block him in a backward direction, and take him backward. What if I move backward and he continues to move forward with me? Then we're going to change direction and do takedowns and take him in a forward direction. So again, I'm here trying to pull him back, walking, and he comes with me. We can take him over the top. We can, again, do takedowns and take him in the direction that he's moving. So if he's moving with me, move with me. We take him forward. If he resists me, we take him backward. If I push into him and he resists, we take him forward. If I push into him and he goes backward, we take him backward. Got circular movement as well. We're here. Maybe I'm trying to circle to the back, and as he squares up to me, he exposes the center line, and I go in for double legs, single legs, whatever. Then we have lateral movement. Maybe I want to circle. And I'm going to try to circle to his back, but he's going to cut me off. And if I can get good at timing his steps as we go laterally, shuffle with me. One, two. And we can start taking him down like so. Sorry, I didn't try to take down.
Okay, how are you doing now?
So if we can time the steps on the lateral movement too, I try to circle to the back. I pop this off, circle, circle, circle. We can take that and take him down as well. So we've seen stance, we've seen grip fighting, we've seen motion. Some more on motion. I didn't actually give names to these situations. When I'm trying to pull Ant to me, and he pulls back in resistance, just keep like a square stance, just for simplicity. I'm pulling this way, he pulls back. He sits his weight down, he sits his butt down, yes. His weight is going onto his heels. His toes are very light. So we have something we call the pulling man, where Ant is pulling against me, the pulling man. When I have somebody pulling against me like this, the pulling man, where he's got this hollowed out body posture and he's leaning backward, I'm generally going to come to takedowns and take him in a backward direction. That's the pulling man. We also have the hollow man, where this time, maybe I'm driving into him, he drives back at me, and I get his weight onto his toes. So now his heels come off the floor, his weight's on his toes. Or I could also do this by drawing into him. When we're here, and just be natural, it's loose, relaxed. And I start to do this, and I get his weight onto his toes, I can now start to take him down in a forward direction, because we have the hollow man. Another option, we could go into hip throws. I break, I walk, I get his weight onto his toes. Now with his weight onto his toes, it's easy for me to drop underneath of him into this space that's hollowed underneath of him. And now I can use my grip, since his weight's on his toes, to lean forward. And it's very easy to take him in a forward direction because his weight's on his toes. So we want to create situations where we get our partner bent over, and either their weight on their heels, so they're pulling backward, and then we have a pulling man and we take them in a backward direction. Or we get somebody who's pushing into us, we get their heels off the floor, we get their weight onto their toes, and now we start dragging them down in a forward direction because they're out of balance forward. So we want to create the hollow man and the pulling man. Some other things we want to do are creating a fully weighted foot or a completely unweighted foot. For example, if I can create a situation, now this takes time, but when I walk away from this leg and I pull, that leg comes to me. I can make that leg get picked up. I go here, I pull, the leg is unweighted. For a split second, the leg is unweighted. If I can time that, when I pull him forward, I can catch the leg unweighted, and I can take it out and away, and then pull him into the hole I've created. We can hit a good foot sweep. So I'm here, I pull, I take that foot out, and we pull him back into the hole we created for a foot sweep. So another objective, a goal of motion, is to create an unweighted foot that we can brush away. Another thing we can try to do is create a fully weighted leg that we can reap away. If the leg is weighted, put weight on that leg, I can't sweep it away. It's too heavy. But if I get my whole leg behind it, I get that leg weighted, and then I can take it out. Then we have a reap. So the general rule, let me look at the camera. The general rule is we sweep unweighted feet. We sweep unweighted feet, and we reap away weighted legs. So if we're using motion, forward motion, backward motion, circular motion, lateral motion, when we're using motion, we're trying to create the pulling man so we can take him down backward, the hollow man so we can take him down forward, an unweighted foot so we can brush and sweep it away and pull them into the hole, or a fully weighted foot so we can come in with our leg and reap the entire leg out from underneath of them and send them crashing down to the floor. All right, so that's going to cover it for motion. Now we're on to off balancing. Off balancing is going to be very similar to some of our takedowns that we use with our feet. Inside trips, outside trips, back trips, forward trips, reaps, etc. Let's take a look. If I want to get Ant out of bounds, one thing that I can do is I can put a blocker in behind his foot and give a push. What that's going to do is it's going to force Ant to take a step back, and it's going to force him into this broken posture. Where now we've created the hollow man, where he's bent forward, he's on his toes, trying to overcorrect for being off balance backward, and now we can come in, and we can start getting ready to take him down in a forward direction, pulling him this way. Lost my train of thought. Where was I, Ant? Off balancing, thank you. We can also go with forward off balances, or maybe I step across. I'm going to put a trip right here, down at the foot. Trip, and I'm going to pull. So what that's going to do is Ant's going to stumble and catch his balance. Then off that stumbling, we can go in to set up our takedown. So we can use these off balancing techniques, either an inside trip, an inside back trip I should say, an inside back trip on the cross leg, we can go with an inside back trip on the near leg, we can go with a straightforward trip, get him stumbling, and then drag him down to the floor. We can go with a cross forward trip, where I'll step out and I'll trip here. We get him out of balance. We have Uchimatas. I like this one as well. Forward reaps, where I come in and I use a reaping action to get him out of balance. Then we can snap him, front headlock, snap down to the header. So it might be like this, where I'm pulling, moving around, get him out of balance. Stay on the feet, buddy. Move around with me. Come in. And then we can start dragging him down. So that's off balancing. We use trips, sweeps, and reaps as a method to off balance my opponent and set him up for subsequent takedown attacks. Now the fifth and final precursor skill, position. We've already touched on this. We can flank our opponent. He sets a power hand grip on me. I get a cuff. I dance away, strip it off. Now from here, I'm going to circle toward his back and I set his hand by the center line. So I have an angle on him. If he does nothing, I'm going to use his flank position to get to rear clinch. And now we can take him down from the rear clinch. We'll look at this in the future. But nobody's going to let me circle to their back like that. So what happens, I strip this grip, I circle, he circles back, and now we can come in and we're ready to go into our takedowns. So that's one of our positions, is getting to that flank position. When I try to get to the flank position and he overcorrects and squares up with me, it creates the second position we're looking for, the pyramid position. Remember the pyramid position. I want to widen his feet, and I want to stand so that my ankle line forms a T to his ankle line. So from here, if he tries to drive me backward, not very strong. But if he comes back and he stays where he is and I drive him backward, it is very strong unless he corrects his base. Okay? Now watch, if I push back and he corrects his base, now he has a new ankle line. So now I might readjust the pyramid, start pulling forward, and get him out of balance. We go in, maybe he takes a step, because the pyramid position changes. I circle back to the pyramid position, and now I can start going in with Ochizaris and other takedowns. So understand that I want Ant square to me, and I want to be bladed. If he puts a hand on my chest and pushes, don't change your stance. Go back. Stand here. I'm here. He pushes. Not easy. I push him. Stay strong for me. Very easy for me to push. Okay? Because he has no front, he has no base forward and back. And I do. So we can get to the flank position or the pyramid position. Remember, if he's in a closed stance, the pyramid position is where? Behind me. If he's in an open stance, the pyramid position is in front of me. One more position that we can get to. I call this the standing flank position. I know that might sound confusing because I know that we were talking about flanking our opponent like this, but this is not a good control. There's nothing stopping the man from simply squaring back up to me, and I lose my advantage. There is one way we can maintain a flank advantage though, and it's just going to require a little bit of adjustment. Here's our standard grips. We have a power hand and a control hand. What if I were to strip this power hand? Here's the armpit grip. Take the armpit grip up here. What if I come up to this and grab the cross cuff instead of a straight cuff? And now from here, to strip the grip, I'm going to pull my elbow back as I pull the grip. Now I set a new power hand. It could be on the peak of the collar. It could be on the rear shoulder, the scapula grip. It could be on the belt grip. It really doesn't matter. But now when Ant tries to square back up to me, like facing. Yeah, I have his arm trapped across the center line. I'm going to put my head right here in this far shoulder. And now when Ant tries to deflect me or do anything with me, like tries to take me down or whatever, it's very difficult with that arm caught. But I have very, very strong takedown attacks, sacrificial techniques, where I can commit my body weight to the floor, and it's going to be very, very strong. So for instance, we're moving around here in this grip. I can come in with a sumigeshi, for instance. And I can hook sweep him up over the top of me. So I use the Japanese term, hook sweep. Sumigeshi is the Japanese term for it, but we can hook sweep over the top. Once again, we're here. Okay, maybe I come over, I get a cross grip, I pop, and I stick my power hand, just like so. Now from here, we're moving around, and then I come in, 1, 2, send him up over the top with a butterfly hook sweep, we get to the top position. Another way we can use the standing flank, another one of my favorites. Maybe we're here, he has that armpit grip. I reach up, I grab my cross cuff. I do a Roman salute, take my elbow away. Peel. I set my new grip, he squares up to me obviously, and we're in here dancing. Now another one I have here is the collar drag, right? I trip the far foot, so I block this leg. He can't base with this arm. We have a great collar drag down to the floor. So there's our other position. So we had that initial flank position where we just dance around to the outside. When he squares back up, we're looking for the pyramid position, where his stance is square to mine. I'm bladed to him. I have a great ability to drive forward and drag backward, and he has very little ability to stop any push or pulling motions from that square position. Now we also saw that if I can trap his arm across our own center line, we have the standing flank position, where I have an angle toward the back, because I have his arm trapped across the center line, or because I have that arm trap, it's very easy to take him down and takedowns that take him over that shoulder. Just square up to me here. If I control this arm, this shoulder's vulnerable. Takedowns in this direction will be very effective because he can't base on that side. Okay, so we went over a lot of information in this video. A lot of it's important. You guys need to know all these skills if you want to be successful at takedowns. Notice we didn't even talk about the takedowns today. I wasn't interested in teaching you guys how to take people down. I'm interested in teaching you how to control somebody while you're both on your feet. We're looking at setting our own grips on him. Setting a high power. Actually, let's start from the beginning. We're looking at stance. Full upright with movement, a full crouch defensive, but mostly we work from a semi-crouch. From a semi-crouch is where we're going to do most of our grip fighting and most of our setups. When we're in our stance, we have to consider, what's my opponent's stance? Does he have a closed stance in relation to mine? Or does he have an open stance in relation to mine? And that's going to dictate which way I try to circle to the back. We always circle around the lead leg. And which direction I have to move to get that very precious pyramid position where I can easily off-balance them. Once we have our stances set, now we're going into grip fighting. We want to set our own power hand grips high on the body so we're getting a good control of the head and the posture. And we want to control their power hand so they can't set a power hand on us. Our grip fighting strategy is initially to intercept their power hand. Never let them get a power hand on your lapel. Never let them control your head. Okay, they go to reach for a power hand, intercept it, control it. If they do get on the lapel, the next thing is to strip that grip. 2-on-1, pop that thing off, never let them control your head. And then set your own power hand. Now you have grips on you control their head, they don't control yours. You have the advantage. If they do set the power hand grip and you can't strip it, the next thing is to weaken it. To move it down your lapel. Because now they don't have a good control of your head, they have control of your belly button, of your navel, right? Meanwhile, we're working our power hand up, high, toward the peak of the collar, so we have a good ability to off-balance and push and pull and move that tower around and off-balance and tip over that tower. Meanwhile, they can't do anything to our tower because we've knocked their grip down low on the lapel. So if we can't strip their grip, we weaken and negate their grip. What if we can't even do that? What if we can't intercept it? We can't strip it, and we can't even weaken it. It's set up really high, they have a strong control of our head, and we feel like we're getting out-gripped and outclassed in the feet. Then you're on to step 4. Lower your expectations. You went out with the intention of, I want to dominate the gripping exchange, and I want to hit a decisive takedown and put this guy on his back with a double leg, single leg, a Tai-otoshi, a throw of some sort, and put him down. But if he's dominating the grip fighting exchange, you might have to accept that that's not going to happen. That's not a realistic possibility. The longer I try to work from an inferior grip on the feet, if he has better grips than I do, and I keep trying to work and toss him, he's probably going to throw me. He has the advantage. But when I realize he has the dominant grips, he's controlling my head, I'm not controlling his head very well, I can't strip the grips, and I feel like I'm getting thrown around, lower your expectations. Pull guard. Pull guard offensively. Pull guard in a way that's going to allow you to go right back into your attacks. I don't care if you take the person down and score 2 points, or if you pull guard and then sweep them and come up on top and score 2 points. Either way, the result's the same. You're on top, and you've just scored 2 points. It doesn't matter if you got that by hitting a takedown or by pulling guard and sweeping. It's the same thing. The result's the same. So when you're getting out-gripped and outclassed on the feet, lower your expectations. Pull guard in a way that will allow you to go right into your sweeps, or pull guard in a way that's going to hit a sweep immediately, going right into a sacrificial technique like a sumigeshi or a hook sweep, or a kickover takedown, or a collar drag like we saw. Techniques which sacrifice us to the ground, but immediately put our opponent on their back too, and then we win the fight for top position. So again, intercept their power hand. If you can't intercept it, strip it. If you can't strip it, weaken and negate it. If you can't weaken it, lower your expectations and look at pulling guard. And that'll be a really good kind of overall general system for you to follow as you're looking to develop your standing skills. Then we went on to motion. Forward motion, get them driving back into us, get their weight on their toes to create the hollow man. When they're hollow and they're forward and leaning on their toes, take them down forward with snaps or forward throws. As I'm pushing them backwards, maybe they let me, maybe they put their weight on their heels. And now we have the pulling man. With their weight on their heels and their butt leaning backward, we drive into them, we go into double leg takedowns, ankle picks, back trips, things that take them in a backward direction to keep driving. What if I'm pulling? I'm pulling and he pulls back against me. Well, now we have the pulling man again. I pull, he pulls, and he's settling his weight onto his heels, pulling back and resisting against me. We change direction. If I'm pulling and walking backward and he's coming with me, he's not fighting me, then I take him down in the direction he's moving. I get his weight forward onto his toes, into that hollow man position. I snap him down forward. Some other things we're trying to do with motion, we might use circular movement to try to create a fully unweighted foot. If we use circular motion, we create an unweighted foot, we can brush that foot away, sweep it, and pull them into the hole we've created. If we move them around in a way where they have a completely weighted foot, we put all of their weight on one of the legs. But then we use the strength of our own leg to reap the leg out of the way. So we use motion to create pulling man, hollow man, unweighted foot, or fully weighted foot. Along with that motion comes off balancing. We use forward trips, forward reaps, backward sweeps, things like this. We harass our opponent's feet with our own feet to get them out of balance and stumbling. A stumbling opponent is an easy opponent to attack. Here's the problem, is that a lot of times people will go to their foot sweeps, they make their opponent stumble, and then they allow their opponent to recover before they try an attack. They hit a sweep, the person stumbles, they recover, and then I try the attack. Now I'm just attacking a defensive opponent. I want you guys to hit a foot sweep or a trip or a reap or whatever, get them out of balance, get them stumbling, and then while they're in the middle of their stumble, you attack a takedown attempt. You go for a single leg, a double leg, an ankle pick, a tai-otoshi, or forward trip, a back trip, anything. A snap even, just to drag them. Just snap and drag the head down to the floor. Get them stumbling and attack them in the middle of the stumble. That is when they're most vulnerable. And then last but not least, we're doing all these tactics and tricks to set up some dominant positions for us and inferior positions for them. We want to create the coveted pyramid position where we can easily off balance them both in a backward and a forward direction. We can drive them and we can drag them. We can off balance them driving, we can off balance them by dragging. And we're bladed. We have one forward foot, one back foot. So when they try to push and pull us, we're very well stable. Meanwhile, they're square, so they're very unstable. We create that pyramid position. And the other dominant position we get to, very, very dominant, is not the pyramid position, but the standing flank position, where rather than a power hand and a straight cuff grip for the pyramid position, we set a power hand and a cross cuff grip, and we drag that cuff across the body and we hang out on the outside of their two arms. So we're outside their arms. Both their arms are on one side of the body. We're over here somewhere, and it's hard for them to attack over that arm that's being controlled. So we get that dominant position, dragging that arm across the center line. We have our power hand set. We can use that dominant standing flank position to off balance our opponent and go into sweeps. When you guys can do all these things, when you guys can effectively use stances and you know how to use them and understand how to use them, why to use them, when to use them, you know how to set your own grips and you know how to break all of your opponent's grips. You know how to generate movement to create the pulling man, the hollow man, the weighted foot, the unweighted foot. You know how to off balance your opponent, get them stumbling with trips and sweeps. And then you know how to take advantage of that stumbling by getting into our dominant positions, the pyramid position, the standing flank position, and then we go into our driving takedowns and our dragging takedowns. If you can do those 5 things, stance, grip, motion, off balance, and position, you're going to be taking down a lot of people. Thanks for watching, guys.